This episode of News Dump is brought to you by Upstart.
So the long, twisted tale of MoviePass is something that we've covered for quite a long time on this show. From its early days and meteoric rise as a way for people in certain cities to seemingly take advantage of a startup's money in order to see countless movies down at the old MoviePlex, to its more tumultuous times where a constantly changing subscription tier model had people checking to see what the latest rules were on a damn near weekly basis, to the ultimate death knell when, mysteriously, certain movies started disappearing completely from your available options. MoviePass, it was a wild ride, and now there's going to be a documentary series produced based on the rise and the fall of this insane, actually industry-disrupting company.
Get out the old barrel and suspenders from the costume department.
Your old Halloween costume will still work.
Yeah. So it's undeniable that a ton of positive things happened as a direct result of MoviePass. This product was a dream for the consumer, which is pretty rare these days. MoviePass, it fell on the sword of its investors to provide the people with cheap, easy access to unlimited movies in theaters for a certain amount of time, because nothing lasts forever. Like we said earlier, once they realized that people were actually utilizing their service for its intended purposes en masse, the reality of the situation struck them, and the company soon realized that they simply could not afford to keep burning money almost literally in this way. So they pivoted to tiered models, and then they started only allowing certain movies on certain nights, and then they refused to allow you to see certain AAA movies on the opening weekends. And at some point in all this, they released a MoviePass Studios film called Gotti, which I don't recall, but I believe it won several coveted awards. It might have been Razzies, actually.
Yes, I think it was Razzies. And who could forget Gotti with the amazing marketing plan of, don't listen to those stupid critics.
Fuck the critics.
Make up your own mind. See it now.
These snobs down at the New York Times and Rolling Stone say Gotti's a flaming piece of shit. Well,
prove them wrong.
Why don't you prove them wrong by taking a trip down to the multiplex with your MoviePass card and watching Gotti?
You've already paid for it. You might as well see it.
It's free. It's a free movie.
But because of the success of their ultimately failed experiment, the landscape of moviegoing, it did actually change. And people were hooked on paying a single monthly fee for the ability to see movies whenever they wanted to. And before long, AMC launched the Stubbs A-List subscription, which basically mirrored the tiered system from MoviePass. You got to see a certain number of movies a week, but you also got some discounts on food and drinks, even your own line of refreshments, or line for refreshments, so that everyone else could see how much better you were than them.
Yeah, and it was like, I'm late to my movie, I need popcorn, I gotta stand in this fucking line behind all these assholes.
Sir, right this
way.
And
these A-listers, they got the velvet rope treatment. They're walking right up.
Look, AMC A-List, it was awesome. And before the pandemic, I was seeing more movies than ever because I wanted to make sure I was getting my money's worth. It was great. And it was the only reason I saw Cats. But it was also the reason that I saw plenty of actually good movies.
Like Cats?
No, shut up. But I would have otherwise missed a lot of movies that I went and saw with MoviePass. So yes, with AMC A-List. So yes, MoviePass unintentionally made the movie-going experience much better, despite literally being a money pit for anyone involved in the actual company itself.
Yeah, it was like the original Quibi. MoviePass walked so Quibi could run.
Yeah, and then die. Then get shot, just like MoviePass.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not really sure how much more we're going to learn about the inner workings of this doomed company through this new documentary series, but there had to have been some absolutely insane shit happening in the background just based on what the public saw playing out in real time. Also, as we brought up throughout the whole saga, it's an insane idea.
Yeah.
I would love to see the meetings where this idea was agreed upon and formulated by people who must have had a suspicion that they were essentially lighting money on fire.
But it's the same thing with all startup cultures in the early 2010s. It was just like, acquire customers at all costs, and we'll figure it out later.
Get that VC cash, year 3, IPO, and then we're smooth sailing.
Or Amazon will swoop in and give us $1 billion for our amazing idea.
I mean, they did try to shake down AMC and Regal, and that didn't work.
Just like,
they were told to get the fuck out.
We'll just do our own. Yeah. And that way we get all the money.
No, we're not going to pay you, you idiots. You're the ones with the stupid idea here.
Yeah. But hey, thanks. Anyways.
Cool. So the company's producing this series is Mark Wahlberg's Unrealistic Ideas, which Mark Wahlberg is, look, he's played some fine roles. He's whatever. But
he wakes up at 3:30 in the morning.
Prayer time.
Yeah.
Ice bath. Golf for 10 minutes. Family
That's all
time.
he needs.
Take another nap. 5th meal. go to sleep at 4:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Let's do it all again. But the team, the actual production team working on it, are the same people behind McMillions, which is a documentary series based on stolen McDonald's Monopoly pieces in the late 90s. It ended up being way more interesting than, you're like, oh, McDonald's Monopoly, who gives a shit? But it's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a great documentary filled with completely abnormal human characters.
Some real characters, yeah.
Yeah.
From Deadline, Unrealistic Ideas, the company behind HBO's Emmy-nominated McMillions, is taking another deep dive into the absurdities of greed with the story behind the rise and fall of MoviePass.
And it continues, employing a sexy price to turbocharge subscriber growth, the investors who took over the company sought the rapid success experienced by high-flying startups like WeWork and Uber. Saying
neither of which ever turned a profit.
Yeah, and WeWork's having its own movies made about it.
Yeah.
But through over-the-top parties, inexplicable mismanagement, and questionable behind-the-scenes deals, the new leadership of MoviePass slowly alienated its customers and shuttered its service just 2 years after its surge into the zeitgeist. This docuseries will follow MoviePass's founding and the implosion of the business by outside investors who took over the company before leaving it bankrupt and under the investigation of the FBI.
Wait, what?
Featuring exclusive first-hand accounts from the MoviePass founders who watched the company they built destroyed by Wall Street greed, along with company insiders and industry experts, the project will provide an inside look at how players in the investor class can rig the game to ensure their payday regardless of the carnage they leave behind. It will also include the perspectives of ambitious young employees and passionate MoviePass users who helped fuel a movie-going revolution that was cut short. So, yeah, I mean, that all sounds extremely interesting.
Yeah, that is, because we do forget that, the first 4 years of MoviePass, it was a much more practical, reasonable bargain. It was like $50 a month for unlimited movies, which, you're only going to really get that if you're already seeing, 4 or 5 movies a month.
Yeah, and they partnered with, I think the Cinerama Dome, ArcLight, was one of the first partners.
Yeah, and it was a very niche product that, and then they very suddenly switched to this.
Open the doors.
Just balls to the walls. Take it. Free movie tickets.
Yeah, and it had the same kind of ending as, I believe, I think Toys R Us had the same kind of thing where it was just like, yeah, we're going to shut the company down because we all get bailed out. It's fine.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what actually went on behind the scenes. I'm way more curious now than I was after we put the final stamp on MoviePass. Well, this is done. Let's move on. Now, there's no word yet on where this will air or even an idea of when it will be released. But you already know we're going to let you know as soon as we know anything and it's set in stone because this might be spicy as hell.
Yeah. It's just too bad that this isn't going to theaters and I can't use my MoviePass card to go see it for way less.
Yeah, they should let everyone that had the actual MoviePass credit card, just show it at the door and you can come right in.
Yeah, if you've still got the physical MoviePass card, you get in for free. And just this once.
Here's
for
your
old
copy
time's
of
sake.
Gotti.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on now. We got some Mr. Potato Head news for you. What's up, Potato Heads?
Yeah.
And if I may have misspoke there, it's Potato Head.
Yeah.
And why is everyone freaking out about this damn potato with that you stick ears and eyes and mouths onto, not having a gender? Why are people upset about this? Why are presumably adults who want to be taken seriously so piping mad about a fucking potato toy? It's a potato with a face. I don't know. I guess to them it might have a penis and or a vagina.
Yeah.
And they're taking that all away.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do know that Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head do in fact have big, thick, juicy Pixar mom asses. But that's where all their customizable parts are stored, in the dumper. Body parts are stored in the ass. That much is true.
Yes.
And as for whether or not these toys have dicks and pussies, well, I mean, I guess that was left up to your imagination.
Yeah.
Until this week, when a brawl broke out online over the fact that the company who owns Mr. Potato Head, Hasbro, had the audacity to make this toy gender neutral. Only it didn't do that. They just dropped the Mr. off of the Mr. Potato Head brand. That's it. They wanted a more broad and all-encompassing brand name for the product, which features, surprise, more than just Mr. Potato Head.
Yes.
There's Mr. Potato. If you've seen,
there's a whole Potato Head universe.
If you've seen Toy Story, which you probably have, any Toy Story, there is clearly already 2 genres of Potato Head.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, the restaurant Oscars and how they changed the name to Patton Oscars because it sounds like Oscar's wife was nagging him. Was like, I work just as hard as you do, Oscar. Put my name in the store. So
I have no idea what you're talking about. Is that a Southern California thing?
Yeah, it was a regional chain. I think it's still around. They had really good breadsticks. But yeah, they changed their entire brand name from Oscars to Patton Oscars. And there's like press releases, I wanted to include my wife in the branding.
Well, that's why I never heard of it. They canceled it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it seems as though there was some obvious confusion based on wording that was used in conversations with the press. But this was already baked into an investor call about all aspects of Hasbro, including, by the way, a crossover event with Magic the Gathering and Lord of the Rings, which I am very excited for.
What?
Yeah. They're bringing Lord of the Rings to Magic the Gathering. Can you believe it?
How is Mr. Potato Head involved?
Oh, no, this is just the Hasbro company did a whole thing.
Oh, I thought...
It wasn't just about... They didn't come out with all their, like, people and were like, we have an announcement, everyone.
I thought you meant that Magic the Gathering and Lord of the Rings and Mr. Potato Head were having a three-way crossover. So I'm like, that's fucking wild.
I mean, that would be wild. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, shit went haywire on social media when news broke of a gender-neutral potato toy with R.I.P. Mr. Potato Head actually trending on Twitter. And this glorious work of art from what appears to be a real person and conservative named Colton Duncan, featuring a bunch of canceled characters welcoming Mr. Potato Head into heaven.
My favorite response to this, and I don't know if anyone did it, was just like, someone's like, please Photoshop Jeffrey Epstein into this.
Yeah. Now, we should point out that the addition of Chase from Paw Patrol being included here, that did create some confusion. Paw Patrol was never canceled, and the confusion came because people were like, oh, all cops are bastards, huh? Well, you might as well cancel Paw Patrol. And that line of thinking literally made its way into the White House, where former press secretary Kayleigh McEnany parroted that talking point that Paw Patrol had been canceled by the radical left. It wasn't. It isn't.
Paw Patrol had to like come out and issue a press release like, no, we're not canceled.
No.
We're still around.
There's a Paw Patrol movie apparently coming out this year. So
yeah,
still great piece of art.
It's incredible. Mm-hmm. Someone woke up that day, fired up Photoshop, and got to work on the canceled heaven right there. Mm-hmm. Either way, though, the artwork of canceled characters is objectively fucking hilarious and ridiculous. But in a press release about this change, Hasbro said, quote, Hasbro is officially renaming the Mr. Potato Head brand to Potato Head to better reflect the full line. But rest assured, the iconic Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head characters aren't going anywhere and will remain Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head. There's two genres. There's two genres and two genders, Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head.
That's it.
Launching this fall, the Create Your Potato Head Family is a celebration of the many faces of families, allowing kids to imagine and create their own potato head family with 2 large potato bodies, 1 small potato body, and 42 accessories. The possibilities to create your own families are endless, with mixing and mashing all the parts and pieces. Wait a second.
Hold on, I can do whatever I want?
I'm hoping there's only enough parts for 1 dad potato and 1 mom potato, because my potatoes ain't gay, Hasbro.
Yeah. There's going to need to be a monitor down from the local church watching your kids play with the potato heads.
Now, you made a daddy potato, let's see a mommy potato.
Take this clay and make a penis for Mr. Potato Head.
Yes. So we're clear.
I did. Look, I spent a good 10 minutes, and I don't know why, I got like halfway through it, and I was like, I can never post this. Why am I even making it? But I made, the guy sitting on the bed? We covered it recently, where they put his, I put Mr. Potato Head on a bed and literally pen tooled that man's penis onto Mr. Potato Head. And I looked at it, and I was like, I could make this look better, but there's no point. I can never post this anywhere, so I'm just going to delete it and hope that it leaves my recent images in Photoshop. Because when you open it up, it's like, here's some stuff you've been working on.
Yeah. It was either The Onion or Hard Times. They had a headline with a photoshopped image of Mr. Potato Head with a blurred out giant dick.
See, that would have been the easy way, but I wanted to put him on the bed and everything.
Yeah, that was good. Coward. You're a coward. So anyway, there you go. Looks like your kids can do whatever the hell they want with their potato toys. No!
Yeah.
It's not as if everyone didn't cross-dress Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head when they were growing up already anyway.
That was the point. You switched all their shit around.
You wanted to make them as freakish and outlandish as possible.
Yeah. And if a little baby potato wants to have 2 potato gay dads, then it can have it now.
No, I want They should bring back the original Mr. Potato Head, which was a literal potato.
Yeah.
Like all they sold was the parts. Mm-hmm. You had to supply your own potato.
Which gender are you assigning to this potato?
I think it was one of those Great Depression era games.
Yeah.
Like Monopoly and whatnot, where they're like, "Hey, kids, you know what's a toy that's sitting around the house right now? Probably a fucking potato.
Why don't you stick an eyeball in it?
Have fun with it.
Talk to it.
There's a doll. It's a doll now." Anyways, we have a bunch more news for you today, including an absolute onslaught of new shows, movies, series, and revivals from Paramount, who is doing whatever it takes to shove its way into the streaming wars
for the second time.
At the last fucking second after failing once before. But first, let's take a quick break to thank today's sponsor, Upstart. If you have multiple credit cards, you know that tracking multiple balances, due dates, and website logins can be stressful. Upstart makes things simple with one monthly payment in one place.
Upstart is the fast and easy way to get a personal loan to pay off your debt all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment. Upstart finds smarter rates with trusted partners because they assess more than just your credit score. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate upfront for loans from $1,000 to $50,000. You can get approved the same day and can receive funds as fast as one business day. If debt is taking over your life, it's time to get a fresh start with Upstart.
Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/newsdump. That's upstart.com/newsdump. Don't forget to use our URL so they know that we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/newsdump. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Now back to the news with, look, gonna be honest here, a pretty goddamn impressive slate of new TV and movies coming by way of Paramount Plus, which is recently rebranded from CBS All Access.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that Paramount knew that they had to come out of the gate swinging for this new platform, and that's almost certainly because they learned a lot of expensive lessons with their previous effort, and they've also now had a chance to see how Disney Plus was able to separate itself from the rest of the streaming services out there, utilizing the hell out of your intellectual property that you already own. Yeah. Again, CBS, they tried this with Star Trek and a few others, but nothing like what was recently announced. If it was big and Viacom owns it, they're bringing that shit back. Not entirely sure if it's going to work out for them, but damn, there's a lot to look forward to, even if you're just like, all of it's out now. I'm going to take 1 month of Paramount Plus and watch it all. And we'll probably miss a few things because it was like a 3-hour press conference, but here's some stuff that stuck out to us.
So there's going to be a bunch of series based off of films in Paramount's library, including The Italian Job, Fatal Attraction, Flashdance, Grease, and The Godfather. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I don't know. Come on. Frasier's back, with Kelsey Grammer reprising his role as Dr. Frasier Crane.
And I'm finally old enough to appreciate it this time.
Sensible chuckle, the show.
Yeah.
We know a lot of people who are like huge Frasier fans, and I do not understand it.
I rewatched it in my early 20s, and I found it to be quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a good sitcom, but like it is weird that people our age like loved it as children.
Like, yeah, but every single person that loved it as a child looks exactly the way you picture them.
Yeah, it's true.
Think of Joel Rubin.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
And Dave Schilling.
Yes.
I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Anyway, there's a live-action Halo series. It's jumping from Showtime to Paramount Plus, and it's set to premiere early next year. The show will, quote, take place in the universe that first came to be in 2001, dramatizing an epic 26th century conflict between humanity and an alien threat known as the Covenant. Halo will weave deeply drawn personal stories with action, adventure, and a richly imagined vision of the future.
Reno 911 is being brought back again. This time for Paramount Plus, and we're not sure if they're going to secure the Quibi rights. I mean, Roku was going after it, but I feel like with all the money they're spending, Paramount could just be like, hey, why don't you give Reno 911 to us? Yeah. If they don't get the rights, I'm not sure if they're actually going to even acknowledge the fact that the Quibi little mini-series spinoff was a thing.
Yeah.
They'll just act like the micro season never existed. Workaholics is officially back, but this time it's going to be a feature-length movie on the platform.
Okay.
And speaking of movies, Beavis and Butthead are getting a feature-length movie as well. This is their first since the mid-90s cinema perfection known as Beavis and Butthead Do America. That movie holds up.
It really does.
I watched it last year, and I was just like, this is fantastic. Also, looking into this, I found out that there was a deleted scene from this movie that never even made it onto any of the special editions or DVDs. When they finally make it to Washington, D.C., Cornholio's looking for his teepee for his bunghole.
Mm-hmm.
And he literally takes the Declaration of Independence and wipes his ass with it and like walks out and it has a piece of it on his shoe.
America wasn't ready.
He broke into the case with an American flag pole. So I guess there are things that are too extreme.
Yeah.
Anyways, the new film will also be followed up by new seasons of Beavis and Butthead, the TV show over on Comedy Central, which we spoke about pretty recently.
Shit. I mean, they were like the first React YouTubers.
Yeah.
Some of the first.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Mystery Science Theater could also count.
But Beavis and Butthead, look, it doesn't really hold up great. They redid it in the early 2010s, and it was pretty good. I like even the old stuff when they're just ripping on the music videos is funny.
Yeah, that's the best part. It's just watching ridiculous music videos and commentary with it.
Mm-hmm.
And some more MTV shows that were actually about music that are coming back include Yo MTV Raps and Behind the Music. And two MTV shows that were actually decent back in the 90s but are almost entirely responsible for the reality show hell that we've lived in for the past 20 years are coming back as well. Road Rules and The Real World, and presumably at some point later, the Road Rules Real World Challenge will follow.
Yeah, I think Real World's been on for, it stayed
like
way longer than
seasons or some
way
shit.
longer than Road Rules. I'm interested to see Road Rules again though, because people all trapped in a Winnebago it's ripe for some drama.
I just never really appreciated either.
I never watched Real World. I watched the hell out of Road Rules, so that's why I'm excited about it. I think. Because they'd stop in different cities and do like challenges based on those cities. Yeah,
that's cool. Anyway, over on the Nickelodeon side of things, Nickelodeon, the cast of Rugrats is back for a reboot of that animated show. This time it's in 3D animation. I don't think it looks very good.
I like it.
I was offended by the look of this. It bothers me because the original had such a distinct sort of animation.
I feel like it captured it well, but it's obviously they're not going to do that again. So
yeah, I don't know. It's like it just looks very generic to me. But I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
Jewish representation. The Pickles family.
They did it was pretty wild. They had like an entire
Hanukkah episode.
They had a Hanukkah episode and a Passover episode. Mm-hmm. Also, Dora the Explorer and Fairly Odd Parents both getting live action shows. So
we already had the Dora the movie, but
Fairly
Odd Parents, cool. I liked that. Anyways, in a bid to keep up with platforms like HBO Max, Paramount Plus has announced that they'll be adding major studio films to the streaming service just 45 days after they release in theaters, starting with Mission Impossible 7 and A Quiet Place Part 2.
A movie that was supposed to come out
a year ago. Literally a year ago, yeah. Those are the only two films confirmed so far, but we'd assume that there'll be more, at least until theaters are back running at full capacity. I would imagine you could expect announcements about Top Gun and stuff like that.
I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard New York was considering reopening movie theaters, which seems like a bad idea. But
at this point, Andrew Cohen's like, do whatever you want. Just keep me out of the headlines.
Just leave me alone. I didn't do anything wrong. I actually wrote this book about how great I am.
Read the book, please. Don't look at any of the recent headlines.
Don't look at any of that. Hey, they were old. They were going to die anyway.
I'm Andrew Cuomo. Bye.
Over in video game news, it's official. Anthem is canceled. It's no more. The Iron Man.
Accepting Anthem into heaven with Paw Patrol.
Cancel culture.
Yeah.
No, just people didn't want it. So the Iron Man-esque action RPG set on a distant planet was technically impressive and was definitely fun to play, but it felt completely unfinished, and there was never really anything to do after you completed the very short campaign.
I had a lot of fun for about 15 hours, and then there was nothing, and I was like, is that really all?
Yeah, it seems to have felt like a beta, and despite EA attempting to build enticing roadmaps for it, there was just no saving this game. People had given up, they'd moved on, and probably playing that Valheim now, and now EA and BioWare are doing the same. In a press release, BioWare said, "In the spirit of transparency and closure, we wanted to share that we've made the difficult decision to stop our new development work on Anthem, aka Anthem Next. We will, however, continue to keep the Anthem live service running as it exists today."
Yeah, who knows how long that's going to last, though. What are these? Yeah, let's keep these servers up for the 12 people that are playing.
Yeah.
They also went on to blame COVID, which, sure. But
coronavirus.
This what are you going to do? This game was long dead before a global pandemic forced teams into development and to work from home. So hard to place blame on that, but it's a pretty good scapegoat, I gotta admit. Absolve yourself.
No, the best scapegoat is getting hacked and ransomware.
Could you imagine if Anthem, like the devs did that now? They're just like, nuts! They stole all the source code, and then they deleted it all.
I love that. CD Projekt Red, they're like, hey, so you know how we said we were going to release a bunch of stuff?
Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Hands are tied.
Hacked. So, sucks.
You'll just have to wait. But it's going to be good, and you're going to love it, and everything's going to be perfect, finally. They continued their press release, quote, game development is hard. They should have just ended it there. But they didn't. They said, decisions like these are not easy. Moving forward, we need to laser focus our efforts as a studio and strengthen the next Dragon Age and Mass Effect titles while continuing to provide quality updates to Star Wars: The Old Republic. So, I don't know. Rest in peace, Anthem. Like I said, it was an okay game for the few hours that I played it, and then there was just nothing to do.
And speaking of resting in peace, we do have to pour one out for an absolute legend that bit the dust this week. Fry's Electronics, not only just one of the last independent chains of electronics stores that really walked to the beat of its own drum. Mm-hmm. Every store spent what appeared to be tens of thousands of dollars on a sort
theme?
of unique theme, like the one in
Aztec.
The one in Burbank has a UFO crash site built into it. That's you can't miss it.
Yeah, and then also for the entire time that I've lived in Los Angeles, there have always been birds living in that UFO.
Yeah. And
now those birds
it's a great store. Some crazy deals. You had to go there in person. Their website was a fucking joke. You could, even just like ordering something for pickup in store was just needlessly complicated.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't even know if this is actually going through. I don't know if it's going to be there when I get there.
Fry's was great, though. It was great.
It was a great store.
You would go in for one thing, and you'd end up in like the home audio aisle and looking at a giant full-size Jeep that had been made to look like it was split in half by an alien with a ray gun.
They had fun with it. Their massive checkout line was like basically a grocery store, but then during coronavirus, they turned it into like a PPE one-stop shop.
Yeah, that was the last little bit of Fry's. They turned everything into a PPE warehouse.
But the thing I liked about it the most probably was that in a post-Radio Shack world, it was one of the few places where you could get like electronic components or even stuff that's like not even that complex, just like the random shit that now you have to order from like Newegg or Amazon.
It was there.
They had every little fucking dongle before dongles were a thing.
And the employees were knowledgeable depending on what section they were in.
Yeah.
They knew what they were talking about. And I will say, the Geek Squad already has a terrible reputation.
Yeah.
Fry's, I always had a decent time getting things upgraded or switched out or fixed on a computer with Fry's.
Yeah, they knew their shit and they were around for, I believe, a very long time, like at least since the 80s.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked into exactly what caused this. Probably the pandemic, and the fact that their internet
even
presence
before
was weak as fuck.
Before the pandemic, the walls were getting barren.
Yeah. It's cool that they managed to survive as long as they did, though.
They could very easily turn all of them into like Chuck E. Cheese's or something.
I don't know.
The insides are very interesting.
They're massive warehouses, though.
VR
big
parks.
stores. So I don't know, but I'm gonna miss Fry's a lot. I feel like we may have accidentally contributed to this.
Yeah, because we kept mentioning them.
We do tend to jinx things by talking about them too much, and we've mentioned Fry's a lot.
More than anyone, yeah.
Yeah, so if we are at fault here, I'm sorry.
It was also the most abrupt, mysterious, complete shutdown of a major nationwide, hey, by the way, at midnight tonight, literally the website's going offline and you won't be able to go to a store
Every
tomorrow.
location shutting down.
They didn't even liquidate their assets.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with their inventory.
We should go check it out.
Yeah. You got any graphics cards? No, stop asking.
No! We've got a bunch of masks. Do you want masks and a giant drum of rubbing alcohol?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Anyways, I hope I can get over there for a picture before they take the UFO down.
They should designate every Fry's store as a historic monument.
Yes, they should.
No, the UFO stays. If you move in, you have to keep the UFO. The only place I could see doing that, though, would be like Trader Joe's. Yeah, Trader Joe's is the only other moderate-sized chain that's just like, every store has a theme.
Yeah,
we have fun with it.
Anyways, rest in peace to a real one. Thank you for watching today's show. Please watch our most recent episode of Tech News Day where we talk about that Boston Dynamics robot getting its hands on a gun.
Getting its paws on a gun.
Yeah, and watch our other episodes and subscribe. And hey, thank you for being so nice to newcomers in the comments.
Yeah,
everyone is very gracious. We'll see you soon for another episode of Weekly Weird News coming up.
Bye-bye.
Bye.